Now, bullying of any sort that happened to you deep down really messes with your self-worth. Can you think about what that thing does? I have been bullied for so long in my life. I felt like I couldn't escape it. Literally, even talking about it right now, I feel my voice shaking, because even in campus, I would always find myself like really self-conscious because of how much bullying I've gone through in school. I used to be called names. I was always that girl who, like, people just have beef with her for no reason. Oh, that's not supposed to be funny. You know, even bullies, the main reason why people bully is because they're not able to do that self-work. They're not able to sit there with themselves and their uncomfortable emotions. And just because they come from abusive homes, we've seen this a lot in high school, people even use it as an excuse. You know, my mom used to beat my dad, so that's why I'm just like this, the way I am. Yeah, because they are not able to sit down with themselves, and therefore they would rather dim someone else's light than brighten their own, because brightening your own is hard. It's a business we're seated here talking about right now, the healing. It's hard. Most people are not willing to do it. So you'd rather keep hurting someone. When you think about the effects of bullying to your self-esteem, to your self-perception, I feel it every day of my life. Sometimes I even have nightmares of the times in high school I was bullied. I talk about sometimes I was bullied and I tear up, I cry, and I'm a big old woman. I still cry over something someone told me in class 6 because it cuts so deep. You know? This is heavy. Hello, hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Ivy. Welcome to my channel. If you enjoy the kind of content that is healing, happiness, abundance, this is that place for you. Please be sure to subscribe. A self-imposed philosophy is the narrative that we create from the deepest part of our core about who we are and what is programmed to us at that age when we are small children. We tend to internalize it in a very deep way, by the way, because we are still not developed, right? And as a society, I'm really deeply saddened because of the levels of depression, anxiety, personality disorders we're experiencing as a society generally. And you know, basically everything, literally, I'm telling you, everything sums down to that story you internalized as a small child. First of all, programming happens genetically, and that's why even the genes of alcohol abuse sometimes can be in genes. Even personality disorders, the antisocial personality disorders, psychopathy, narcissism, sociopathy can be as a result of that genetic programming that you receive from generations behind you. Once a child is programmed genetically, then they're programmed environmentally. This means the environment you grew up in really is the story you tell yourself for the rest of your life. So we grow up in environments like the media telling us really weird shit about ourselves. The cover girls on the magazines, they're pretty, and you know, they're like a size UK 6, and you're made to feel like just because you're a girl who is slightly thicker, you're not beautiful. That's media programming. The advertisements we see, even colorism. White people or more lighter skinned people tend to get more than the dark skinned human being. Racism. These things are programmed through the media to us every day when we are little children. Think about the things you used to watch and the things you used to read even as a child. And then now there's the full society that is around us. The news. We are constantly receiving bad news in the news. If it's not about sickness, if it's not about terrorism, if it's not about corruption, if it's not about death, if it's not about weird investigations, that's all we are being given every single day on our news channels. This is a program that is downloading every day, every single day. And then we go to our schools. And whenever you wouldn't score a question maybe in school, you're made to feel dumb. You're sort of quantified according to how much you can perform, according to the intelligence of the school system, right? So if you're the kind of child who maybe doesn't get math or English right, then you're considered a fool, and you're told this. Teachers will say this. I'm saying teachers will say this in class. A teacher picks you to answer a question and you can't be able to do it. You're foolish. You're stupid. Period. Sometimes even children laugh at you. That's a message you internalize. I'm telling you that that's a message you internalize and write right here. That I'm foolish. I don't get shit. And it becomes you for the rest of your life. Even when you're in campus, when you're in university, working really, really hard, your results are still the same, because deep down, I'm a fool. I'm not worth anything. Let's not even get into the churches where you're guilted for not forgiving your neighbor. You're guilted for wanting more money than the average person. You're called greedy. The patriarchy in our church systems is still something really baffling to me. The misogyny. Sometimes I look at how people have interpreted the Bible throughout the years, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Even when Solomon was writing this, even when Daniel or Matthew or Mark or whoever was writing this, they didn't mean what you're saying right now. Even when we talk about the church system, the school system, these are all human beings causing that harm to us, right? But the question stops being, what is wrong with you? And the question becomes, what happened to you? Not what is wrong with you, what happened to you? Because even those people who would perpetuate the idea that you're not worthy, you're not important, and you should be shameful, you deserve to be guilted, you deserve to fear. Something happened to them fast. Someone did something to them fast that is causing this inside them. So even in our homes, we experience a lot of this, specifically emotional abuse. The manipulation, like I said, they learned it somewhere. That's their way of surviving, so that's what they use. The gaslighting, when someone makes you feel crazy and you're literally left questioning your own sanity for a minute, that's gaslighting. Physical abuse sometimes. Some of us really did grow in homes where there was a lot of violence. We witnessed a lot of violence, or we ourselves went through the violence, or even watching parents fight. This is where we talk about adverse childhood experiences, short form ACE, adverse childhood experiences. These are the experiences that completely, really, really traumatize the deepest core of our beings. I'm talking if you had someone in your childhood who was a caregiver to you and would drink, and there was alcohol and substance abuse in your home, if there was name calling in your home, emotional abuse, like I said, physical abuse, watching it with your siblings, watching your parents fight. And watching your parents fight doesn't always have to be physical abuse for it to be traumatizing, because let me tell you, I've read a book, What Happened to You, by Oprah and Bruce. I'll put a photo right here. And she talks about how children do not view their parents like two people who came together to be one. In a child's mind, their parents are one unit, like this, one. So if anything is going on right here in the middle, it's gonna affect this child in a very deep level, and that's what we call adverse childhood trauma. Now, depending on the spectrum, right, it could be you just witnessed your parents like go back and forth by word of mouth, and there's somebody else who witnessed their parents actually fight, even like guns, knives. I've had these cases specifically in psychopathy and such issues, sociopathy. And you realize these things, they get deep into us. Even just watching your parents quarrel, and you're like, Mom, what's happening? And Mom is like, no, honey, we're not quarreling. We're just having a conversation. And then, as a child, you grow up to know, oh, that's not a quarrel, that's just people talking. So even in your own relationships, you carry the pattern with you, yeah? And you're always... arguing. But when your partner asks you, why are you arguing? This is not supposed to be a big deal. No, we're just talking. You internalized that message, you know. Neglect, isolation of whatever form. Neglect involves maybe, especially as a child, if your caregiver did not respond to your needs, right? If your caregiver did not respond to your needs, or they would erratically respond to your needs, like one time they're there, then the next time they're not, you know, inconsistently, it really affects, I don't think you guys get it. It affects your neurological formation process as a child. Literally, your ability to process your own emotions, your ability to process your own reality is hindered. We're speaking deep things here. Isolation is deep because we are living in a world where this is the loneliest humanity has ever been. We are thinking because we are globalized by social media that we've become one, but really we are also deeply lonely inside. People are really lonely, and the COVID period showed us how lonely we are really getting as humanity. And the isolation is specifically a thing for me because I was just crying earlier and I was doing shadow work, right? And I'm literally seated there like, oh my God, the inner child inside me internalized a belief that they're unlovable. They're not important. Nobody wants to be around them. They're literally a bother. And I'm saying this, I can feel my voice shake because of how deep it is, because I was told this. I'm saying I was told this by word of mouth. People don't want to be around you. Like, who do you think you are? People have their own things they're doing. People don't care about you. And you really, you don't understand how much you recreate this narrative. Let me give you a story, right? In What Happened to You, they study this one child through psychoanalysis, and they realize this child has been taught by their parents. It's a small boy, about 8 years old. It's been taught by the parents that he's unlovable. Nobody cares about them. Nobody wants anything to do with them. You're unlovable. And at one point, this child is in a class with many other children, and there's a very kind teacher. You know, these sweet teachers who teach children, and you're just like, oh, I could die to be a child right now and be treated that way. And she's talking to them, and at one point she tilts her head to look behind her, and at this point is when the boy is raising up his hand to ask a question, and the person who was observing the class could literally see the boy put his hand down like, yeah, see, she too doesn't care about me. That is what a self-imposed philosophy is. You tell yourself, it repeats, it becomes your narrative. It finds a way to make that your narrative. And every day we all experience bad emotions of shame, fear, guilt, and sometimes you want to run away from it because it's too real. Sometimes you don't even know what you're feeling. You just want to cry, or I don't know, like, is this even my life anymore? We all get there, but you know, it's always important to literally sit with yourself, because a lot of what we do is run away. And sometimes I've gotten to a place where now I can feel myself running away from my emotions, like, I'm just gonna scroll TikTok. No, babe, just sit there and listen to what your heart is trying to tell you. And these things are gonna be hard. It's hard. You'll shed tears there when you think about, why did I learn this belief about myself? How did I internalize that I'm not important, that my beliefs don't matter, that my feelings don't matter, that my thoughts don't matter? Because I was abused as a child at this age by this person like this, and it felt like this, and this is you literally being honest with yourself. Because the more you run away from it, the saying, what you resist persists. Now here's the thing, this is really hard. I'm saying it's hard because it's hard. You have to sit down with a pen and paper, and sometimes you journal out your thoughts that are not so good. Sometimes you cry because of how heavy it is. I was just crying right now. Shadow work can get really nasty, like really heavy. You're just there like, oh, I just wanted to stop. Sometimes you're not even able to get over your fears and get into them and ask yourself this whys, because you're just like, I don't even want to get there. I was saying it's hard, and it's really hard, and that's why people tend to do the opposite. You run away from it, you use, you abuse, you go into betting or TikTok or you binge it, or you use music to cope. Sometimes people even use affirmations to cope. You realize you're feeling fear, and so you start playing money comes to me easily, money comes to me fast, but you're feeling fear towards money because of what you are taught. You just keep coping, you just keep coping. And then the people around you are the ones who get hurt, because if you keep coping like that, you become belligerent, you become angry, you become feisty, you become a judgmental person. You're the critical judge everywhere you go. You just look at people and you're like, look at that one. Even them, what are they doing? What are you doing? You're switching attention because of how horrible your feelings are. You become belligerent. I'm talking people who become aggressive to a point where you literally just have to address them with fear because they could do anything. They could pop off any minute, right? The kind of men who hit the walls. You literally start to let out all these emotions in very negative ways. And you can tell when you're doing this, right? When you're projecting. Sometimes you find yourself judging people too harshly, and you literally, like when you judge people and you're like, what is that is in me that is so toxic? Because your tongue is just, it's bad news. It's just, you're talking shit about everything because you feel like shit inside, but you don't have the courage to go inside, to go within, to feel what you're feeling and to let it go and to heal. I love studying psychiatry. It's so thrilling when you think about how these things affect you. Because let me tell you, you are the victim when you're small. For example, if you grew up with a psychopathic dad or a sociopathic dad, the difference between psychopaths and sociopaths is that psychopaths are born, sociopaths are made by the environment. And when you get to grow up with such a human being who abuses you truthfully, physically, emotionally, sometimes even people go through sexual abuse, that's like, it even makes me want to cry because of how like haunting that would be to any human being, I would imagine. And when we go through these things, when we are children, we are victims, but we grow up, we become the perpetrators. Listen to me. When you're young, you're the victim of any sort of abuse. Yes, you're the victim. You carry within you all these beliefs of worthlessness and unimportantness. And to get back there, when you grow up, you become the perpetrator. Now you become the one abusing children. And that's why even with childhood trauma and parents and children, we can't just point fingers, we can't just blame, because the question stops being what is wrong with you, and the question becomes what happened to you. For my creatives out there, the ones I call artists, you are taught that just because you couldn't perform in school and your performance was either average or poor, you're worth nothing, and you internalize that even with your art. I've seen that a lot in myself, and it's literally what made me break, because I was like, there's no way the Ivy I was literally internalized that I'm not a good singer. There are so many people who can sing better than me, so I'm just not gonna sing. And you realize even the Ivy I am right now, when I walk into places and people are like, I heard you can sing, please sing for me. I'm shy, I'm ashamed, I can't do it. I can't do it. But that's because I literally learned it's worth nothing. Even my career right now, the career I'm trying to create here on YouTube with you, I've realized a lot of what I'm experiencing right now as a result of everything is just because of that self-imposed philosophy I internalized as a child, that my art is worth nothing. I wanted so bad to become an actor. I wanted so bad to become a musician. At one point, I wanted to be a teacher. And can we all see how this just blends in with YouTube? Actor, teacher, musician. I wanted so bad all these things, but I was always told, you can't do it, you can't do it. I wanted to be a journalist at one point and just sit in front of a screen. You can't do it, there's no jobs. Society literally just keeps shushing that part of you that is so artistic for so long that it becomes so buried deep down inside. And that's why you hear a lot of the stories about depressed creatives. They're depressed. They are always making headlines for the worst things because it's hard. How do you cope in such a society that tells you to shut down every single day? A light inside you that was put there, that was determined to be there by divinity, by source, by creation itself. How do you do it? Tell me, how? Now, this is hard. It's gonna be hard. You sit down with yourself when you have those negative thoughts. Sometimes you can run away from it consciously, but come back. Make sure you come back. Sometimes you can go just watch a movie or watch some YouTubers and just release. But most times you sit there with yourself and you ask yourself the difficult questions. What caused this? What deep belief of myself did this abuse I went through as a child cause into me? And the younger you are, the deeper the trauma. This is scientific. The younger you are, the deeper the trauma. What happened? You ask yourself, what happened? And you stop asking yourself. When you find yourself procrastinating, feeling fear, anxious, depressed, stop asking yourself. When you find yourself suicidal, stop asking yourself, what is wrong with me? No. Oprah says, what happened to you? What happened to you? Okay? And when you get to this point of holding your emotions right there and being like, yeah, this is why I feel this way, you get to let go. What I do is I pray. I'll literally be like, God, universe, I've just learned right now that I have a deep-seated belief that my singing is worth nothing. I have a deep-seated belief that I'm foolish because of all the times I failed in school and a caregiver, someone called me foolish, you know. Please help me navigate this. I surrender this to you. Stop trying so hard to change the narrative immediately. And I used to be of that school of thought. Change the narrative. Tell yourself, I'm not stupid, I'm awesome, I'm brave. Yes, that is the truth. The truth that will always be is that you are smart, you're bright, you're a divine being. And that is the truth. Because even when you sit down with these fears, you'll start to realize how irrational they are. It's just that you held on to them because they protected you somehow. So when you pray, you let go, you surrender, you tell God to take charge. That's you literally just letting go. Let go of it. Don't try so hard to change it. It shall come. It shall unfold slowly by slowly. You'll unlearn the narrative that your feelings are important. You'll learn that your feelings matter. You're a divine being of love. Your gifts, your talents are meant to bless the world in enormous ways the world has not experienced yet. You are unique. You will learn that. But you sit with it first and then you let go. And don't try so hard. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to feel that bad emotions. It's okay to feel the sadness sometimes. It's okay to cry yourself to sleep sometimes. This is not bad. It's life. We get to learn that way. We get to grow that way. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. I know you like me. I love you. Mwah. Bye.